Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Sasquatch Secrets. I'm your host, Nikki Colon. This is where I delve deep into the mysterious world of Bigfoot. And today I have a fascinating discussion lined up for you guys, for sure. It's because joining us today are three incredible women who have dedicated their spare time to investigating the elusive Sasquatch. First, we're going to have Pat Harrison, known to many as the Blue-Eyed Northern, who agreed to bring her unique insights from the wilds of Northwest Louisiana. And we also have our dear friend Jen Watkins, straight out of Ohio, less than about 2 hours from the infamous Salt Fork State Park, who has some intriguing experiences of her own. And lastly, join us coming out of Northeast Ohio, Deb, or as we like to call her, Mrs. Trackway. So let's go ahead and bring them on. And I see y'all in the chat, but we got to get these girls on. So let's do that. Hello, Pat. How are you?
Great. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm doing good. You've been busy, you and Joe out there getting all kinds of great stuff. It's very intriguing. Let me tell you some of this stuff.
Yes.
But we're going to get into that. We'll get into that a little bit. So let's bring on. Hello, Jen.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Doing
Tired.
Good? Tired? Do you guys get your showers in? And because you guys went out last night.
Got home and had something to eat and took a quick shower.
Wow.
And I'm like, don't be late. I'm like, you're gonna be there, right? Okay. Yep. One more to go. Hello, Deb. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
How are you doing?
Doing great.
Good. This is Deb's first time online, so whoo. And Pat, you've been on several shows. I've seen you a couple times.
Yes.
Talking about the big guy. So I'm happy you guys could be here. Thank you so much. I'm going to check the chat real quick. Got to acknowledge everybody here. Brian and Chewy. How's it going, Brian? How's Chewy doing? I hope everything's okay, dear. Sandra Piper, good to see you. BF Bud. And who else we got? There's Bill, finding the Trackway. Mark, good to see you. How's everything? We've got B. Lynn and Joe Parker and Jay. There's Jay Fritz. What were we talking? I was talking about Jay. I don't know. It was good. It wasn't bad. So, Rabbit Homesteading, good to see you. Thanks for coming. John Ayers, there's my bro. And there is Jonathan, Sasquatch Wizard Adirondacks. Robert Denduin, good to see you guys. Thank you so much. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Thank you for being here. I think Grasshopper snuck in there. The hormonal convergence is what he says. Yes, it is. We had to kick out who did we kick? We kicked Bill out of the room already. And we'll have to kick out Joe too. No appearances, Joe. This is just for the ladies tonight. But thank you guys for coming and being here. I need to pull this up. I don't know why it's not up. There we go. Let's do the shuffle here. How are we going to do this today? Let's do this. I don't know. Jen's over there all by her lonesome.
Well. It's okay.
You okay? You okay over there by yourself?
I'm okay by myself. Yep.
Okay. So yeah, Beauties and the Beast. I thought it was a fitting title, and we're going to talk about potential benefits of having investigators involved in Bigfoot research, female investigators. We'll explore the pros, the cons. I'd like to discuss why Bigfoot might be especially curious about female presence in the woods. So that's where I wanted to take this conversation. So that first one is going to lead me to our perspectives, and approaches to Bigfooting altogether. But hello there, Buckwaz crew is in the house now. Good to see you. You had a great show earlier. Highly recommend you guys go over to the Buckwaz crew and watch his afternoon show. Leon was there with Smile on and his words of wisdom, and Bill Reed and Jerry, and who am I missing?
Thomas.
Thomas. He was very quiet today. So, anyway, so our perspectives on this. So, and when we're talking about pros and cons, I feel like women are often have different perspectives when we're out there in the woods. It's a whole different feeling, I think, for us. I don't know if it's because sometimes we are taken care of. Maybe we are not as strong or feel like we're not as strong. And I know I try to act strong when I'm out there, but I'm a little bit more emotional sometimes when we're out in the field, and I don't want to give the impression I'm scared, but maybe, we don't know. Do you think Bigfoot feels that we are have that feminine feel to us? Not just by our looks, you're generally smaller, and I don't know. It's a topic that, I'd like to just start out by saying, Jen, do you feel that maybe we talk about communication skills? Women often have a really good way of communicating non-verbally with our bodies, with the way we look at things. What do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's probably a little bit of both. I mean, we're not as intimidating, right? For the most part.
Mhm.
I think our voices, we're not as loud. We're not as, aggressive a lot of the time. Unless need be, I would say. And I think,
Right.
that's a bit of a difference. And then, I would think we might not be associated as much with hunting either,
Yeah.
which might have something to do with it.
Right. And Pat, you've been out there so much.
Mhm.
Do you feel that they know that you're, female, that you're not aggressive towards them? What are some of the do you get feelings when you're out there about that?
Yes, at points and times I do. I can pretty much tell if they're around. You can feel it. You can sense it. It's in the air. And they
Mhm.
pretty much the one location that we go to here, they pretty much let us know within the first 10 minutes that they know that we know. For some reason, that's the impression I get off of them, because we get either a knock or a mouth pop, or just like a couple days ago, a tree fell. How often do you actually catch a tree falling? It was there 4 minutes. 4 minutes.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was quite scary. I mean, I had my first tree fall with Jen out there on Mount St. Helens, and I never experienced something so loud in the woods like that. In the middle of in the nighttime, we had
Soon as everybody turned in.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
it was like, whoa,
Playtime.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I can't say it was Bigfoot that knocked that tree down, but it was weird. And then we couldn't find it. That was another thing that really puzzled me is that, a couple of guys went out, Brent and Dakota went out looking for this tree and really didn't come up with anything. Even though Jen, Dakota, and me knew exactly the direction it had come from. In the morning we had all said, so it was over there somewhere right over there. And we still didn't really find anything. It was kind of weird. But
yeah, you can't say one way or the other. Sometimes old trees just fall down. So.
Yes.
Right. And there's evidence of that, right? We were walking over dead things, dead trees
all over the place. Yep.
So it happens, and there's slides, we were up at an angle, so things fall down and slide and take other things out with them. But it was I tried not to get Bigfoot on the brain with that, that's what it was. It just happened. And later when we talked it out, it was, Jen knew from the beginning, it was just a tree. It was just, just a tree falling. That's all it was. Nothing got thrown or anything. And Dakota and I kind of were like, I don't know. That was pretty forceful. So it was good to have other people, there to keep you grounded. I think that's important that when you have other people there that you talk about this, and that's the best part of that. Hey, there's Dakota right there. Hey, Dakota, I was just talked about you.
I am so sorry, Nikki. My phone is overheating. I've got to see if I can get another way of doing this. I apologize. I'll be back as soon as I can.
No worries. No worries.
Thank you.
So yeah, it's interesting. And those perspectives, as female investigators might prioritize like building relationships with maybe people in the area. Is that something you guys have done? Like if you go into an area, I'd have to say that in the East Coast, I noticed that towns are like little towns, one after another. Do you think it's easier for us as females to go and maybe talk to other people about, well, have you seen Bigfoot? Or do you not do that? Do you think it's easier or harder to discuss, the topic of Bigfoot with people in the area, trying to get, maybe if anybody's had anything happen to them, weird occurrences, stuff like that?
Well, I think, because I live in Columbus, so like if there's somebody, like I see that they have a Bigfoot sticker or a Bigfoot shirt, I might say something about either one of those things. And then if they seem open to having some sort of a conversation, great. If not, you
just kind of let it go. It's kind of taboo, it's been taboo for a long time to discuss stuff like that. And
right.
But it's also good to have that connection with other people, out there. Just I mean, I know everybody has their groups they go out with. Jen, you go out with the Trackways, and Pat, you go out with your group. And I think that's what it takes. Kind of this group of people who are have this constant. Like, do you go into one particular area there, Pat?
No, I go into a few areas here. They're both the national forest. They're in two separate locations, two separate county, or they call them parishes here. And I am more rural. I'm on the edge of town here, but there's nothing in between my town and the next big town. I mean, we don't have, we have a Walmart. That's it. It's a quaint little town, But I don't have the opportunity to interact with too many people on the subject. Now, it has come up. There is a lot of reports with different people. I think Mike Woolley lived in this area at one, and there's some other footers that lived in the area, and they don't talk about it too much. They know they're there. It's like an everyday thing, like, oh yeah, they were in the garbage, behind the store or whatever, you get those kind of reports, or you hear those kind of things, but they believe in it. And Black Lake isn't too far. And there's reports there. Caddo Lake, there's reports everywhere, all around us. So it's just like an everyday occurrence. But they don't want to get caught up in it too much. They're kind of quiet about it. The people are.
There's still a lot of stigma, related to that.
Mhm.
People, on the outside still kind of think of us as the crazies,
Right.
So I can understand having to pick and choose. And I guess if I was to think about it, I really don't. I'm not the first one to approach. It has to be something like Jen said. I have to see an emblem on the car or something that makes me go, "Oh, hey, I like Bigfoot too." And I think it's kind of an amazing topic and subject to investigate. But I don't go around just telling people yet. I think
No.
most of the people know, everybody in my family knows now that what I do and what my interests are. But it took a while. I know it took a while for me to come out to everybody openly, and as my channel has grown, I kind of had to do that because there wasn't any hiding it anymore. So that's let's see. What we got over here. So I think that, do you feel that maybe women have a little bit more attention to detail when you're out there in your groups, and you're walking around?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Tell me that.
Well, I mean, my nickname is nosy snipper or sniffer or whatever is what I am called by my partner in crime. And Snoopy Sniffer calls me. The thing is I do, sorry guys, I'm here to shake it up. I think that we have more attention to detail. We've had to, with being mothers, being parents, getting the kids off to school, making sure our kids aren't in the back seat, when we get out to go to the store, just some different things like that. We're all mammals, and females have that role as an animal. If you want to look at as Sasquatch as an animal, we all have that role anyway. As females, we bear young, we take care of our young. They all love their children. They protect. And in the animal world, there's a lot of dominance. You have dominance and leadership. And females, there's several animals in the animal kingdom that are dominant, or your alpha female, that they do the hunting. They work together as a social group as well. And some of them will direct hunts. They're protective of their young. And I think they sense that in us as females. I believe. And now the dominance part that's where the male comes into play. He's more competition, or the hunter-gatherer at some points in times, and protective of the family. That's the way it is if you want to humanize it. And in the animal kingdom, in some roles that they do that. But
Yeah. Well, I can definitely see all that. Of course, I don't know. I've never had any experience with Sasquatch or Bigfoot. So it makes sense, right?
Yes.
If you know other animals and the way they act,
Yes.
and that would be a natural thing, you know, if they have to have families, right? They have to male, female, and offspring. So some type of family situation that would they have to have these type of roles. It just makes sense that they would have that, just
Right.
like wolves do, and
Yes.
primates and everything else has
Yeah.
those roles.
There's a social system there, and there's problem solving. You know,
Mhm.
you get into
Yeah.
the problem solving as well within the group. And just like I think I was reading up on some animals. I believe it was hyenas. I believe that their children, their offspring, stay with them the longest. The spotted hyena. And what they do is they will lead into the hunts and things like that. Well, they will work as a pack. They will work as a group. The females will. They'll block off certain areas and what have you. I really do believe that, and it's strength. I think we show strength out in the field when we are out there when I feel like we're being observed. Because I've had very little aggression. I don't even really call it aggression. I don't know about Jen.
Towards me, no. Towards
No.
somebody I was with, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm resending the link for Deb. So I'm sorry, I'm distracted. Hang on 1 second.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we have pheromones too, you know, that you're dealing with as well, that we give off of that. I mean, either you can look at it with animals that were we're mates, or were used for mating. That's what animals do, you know. I don't want to be stalked as prey like that. Are we bait? Or are we bait?
Right. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, dear. On his phone now. Your phone. I apologize. I missed a bit of that, obviously, but the cooperation thing I think is really important. Working as a team and not just 3 or 5 individuals, I think is great. Having a plan and acting on it to see what kind of reactions you can get. I think women are particularly good about that. No offense to the cowboys out there, but there's a lot of running and gunning with the guys. I get it.
Right.
I think we're better at sitting and listening, maybe.
I agree.
Than our counterparts. I'm comfortable with silence, around the campfire or whatever. Then let whatever's out there try to fill the silence instead of having to do it ourselves. I think that's part of what we bring.
Ideas.
Well, so many people out there now are believing that we will never find them. They find us. That it's hard for us to go out there.
Yeah, I'm in that camp. I mean, I think you go out and you muck around in their area a little bit, they're gonna come find you. Or if you just chill at camp, they'll come find you if they want to.
Yeah, we just make ourselves available to where they're at. And I haven't had any situations where you say you have to go in there with a good heart and you have to be open-minded and receive the signals. I'm not at that point.
No.
I just, trying to figure this out. And sometimes that makes sense, I suppose. But I do know that I feel like, as a woman, sometimes we're a little more in tuned with the smells, the
Mhm.
things that are moving, no matter how small or sensitive. I mean, a little nothing can scare me in the trail, it's that sensitive, you know. And I'm not sure. I watch the guys and they just kind of lumber on, going their way down the trails. But I think we're a lot more sensitive to how we approach the subject, how we walk in the woods. We're a little bit um, easier, we're not so destructive, I think, when we're walking, which seems to be a little bit different.
We're more aware, I believe. I mean,
I think it's possible too.
We're
Yeah.
nosy. We're nosy,
And
girls. I am. I take and we take a soft approach as well. But at points and times, hi Rick. At points and times, I have taken an aggressive approach as well. We all share, the ladies here in the panel, we all share mutual a friend, and her name is Angie. She came up with the brilliant idea. We were at Flat Rocks. He may be in the chat. And Bud and Angie and myself and Joe and Jody, who is a retired opera singer. We all went down to Flat Rocks. And he was catching a little flack, that he's a hoaxer and everything. Well, by the time we travel, we're 7 hours away, and Angie and Bud are probably, 10 hours, at least 10 hours away. And we didn't come down there to camp. When we go off like this, we didn't come to camp. We come to see what's going on. And what we did is, what Angie had the idea is she would take Jody and have Jody is good at, she listened to Flat Rocks. He had some vocals on his computer and she listened to those and she matched those vocals. And what she did is Angie came up with that, and she went out and she did those vocals and we got responses. And what she did is, the dogs, everything went off at that point in time. And we were there. She had one right in front of her screaming that it's hard to hear on the audio, but it is there. You can pick out some of them even in the audio. And then 2 or 3 hours later, Angie had decided that we're going to do another call, that she's going to do another call. And we got nothing the first 2 calls that she did. And she had her take it an optic higher and got response. Now, like Angie comes up with great ideas, is we take more of an aggressive approach at that point in time when needed.
Yeah. And that's what it takes, that you have to just go step by step, and not assume anything, but really investigate it.
Yes.
And it is what it is. Don't make it anything more. Just keep it as your data and move on and keep progressing, because that's one thing everybody always says, is that we're not moving that ball down the field when we're trying to discover, Bigfoot. But that is one of the big things, how meticulous the approach that we take.
Mhm.
Yeah, we go out, we have fun, we're fellowship, we're like-minded. You find that group that you really attached to, that thinks the same way, that wants answers, whether it be from whatever side of the aisle, you know, you find that group that you're comfortable with, and that's what you go for and really research on.
We took a risk, a big risk, by doing that, because the next night we had we're sitting outside, and Bud and Angie have something at their truck. They had just went to bed, and we have we have something holler at us twice right at the edge of the woods, and we're sitting outside at the camper. I mean, well, we are taking a risk, but like I said, I didn't come down there to pick flowers or to camp.
Right.
But I'm respectful. I think that's part of it. I think we don't go in there like Deb said, with guns ablazing. You don't do that. You know, you start out with I personally start out with a soft approach and then go further with it to see if I can push those boundaries just a little bit. To get some kind of reaction.
Right.
Well, it's interesting you bring up respect too, because I don't know that everybody in the group has to have the same approach. I think you can have a group with mixed approaches as long as you're respectful of the other approaches, and we, you know, we'll go in turns, or okay, let's try this, or you know, we'll do. Let's follow up with your idea. Great, and then you know, and patience too. I think patience is something that women bring in buckets full.
Yes.
And to see, you know, how long do you give this particular technique before you call it? Do you know what I mean? Is it an entire evening? Is it an hour? You know, but that kind of patience to wait for a response, if that's what you're looking for, as I think very valuable too.
Yeah. Have you, Deb, had any points in any of your investigations or outings where you have felt maybe a connection or an empathetic type of way, where you have felt, you know, either uncomfortable or safe or not safe? Have you run into anything like that?
No, I am not sensitive. I'm a little bit of a broadcaster, but I am not a receiver, and I'll be the first one to tell you that. You know, everybody else will be on edge, and I'm like, I don't know, you know, I just don't have that ability. So that's one particular part where, you know, I'm more, you know, the Spock, logical, data driven kind of person. But yeah, totally respect for that. Yeah, totally respect.
I don't know. Jen was my my radar.
Yes.
Out there.
Exactly. But again, totally respect it. When Jen says something, we're like, okay, let's follow this up. So
right. Yeah. I agree. Kind of creepy too. It is kind of
creepy. I don't know what that thing is for me exactly, but all I know is I don't know if it's a vibration. I don't know what it is, but I get a feeling right back here and behind my left ear, and usually something comes of it. Not always, but something.
Right.
And I don't know what it is, and I don't know why it is, but I'll use it. And sometimes I'm right, and sometimes I'm wrong, and that's okay.
Is a good lead-in for this next one, and that's female intuition and our sensitivity. Because, you know, that's, to me, that's what Jen shows, you know, is that she's a little bit more in tuned, and her intuition gives her those messages or gives her those feelings that
it's just a feeling. It's not messages. I don't want anybody to think I'm getting speak in my head. I'm not getting that.
Yeah.
Not getting that.
Yeah.
Not yet, anyway.
And I don't either, but I can definitely feel a room. Okay. I can tell when something has changed in the forest, in rooms, wherever we go, I can feel that difference. And for example, when we were out at Mount St. Helens, 4 days, it felt nothing. I felt safe. I felt like I could just walk out anywhere. But that last dang night, it did not feel like that, and I don't know what it was, but it got me, how do you say, a little bit on the edge, and I'm hoping that that didn't trigger me to be Bigfoot on the brain. That's not what I wanted to happen to me there. So, but I wasn't alone. So that made it better, that anything I experienced that night was experienced by Dakota, was experienced by Jen, and even Curious Cryptid Steve, during earlier in the night when he was there, he was constantly like, did you guys hear that? Or,
Yeah.
there's something moving over there or mumbling. But we were still just in the early evenings at that point before they left. So you just kind of like, we're in the woods. There's things in the woods. So
well, I mean, even where we were just last night with where Deb and Mr. Trackway and I were, they were even like, it doesn't feel the same. Like it feels calmer. It's not. It doesn't have the same vibe anymore as it did. And I think it's just a thing. If you go to particularly if you go to one place enough,
Yes,
you kind of know how it feels there.
yes,
And
that's what I was going to say.
Like if you could walk into a room when after somebody's arguing, you can feel that. Or
I was about to say too. I think I've learned to, because I figured out very early in my life that I'm not terribly sensitive, intuitive that way. So one of the ways that I compensate is knowing our research area really well. So I'm familiar with all of the critters and the flora and which direction the wind blows from and the topography. Not nearly as well as Trackway, because he's been hunting there for a long time, but I'm very comfortable in those woods because I've been there a lot. And I think that helps me compensate, because then I can tell, when something's off. Even me with my, deaf intuitive ear, I can tell when something's off just because I know it well enough. And I think anybody can do that.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that completely, because if I'm in the woods in Arizona, I am totally at ease and I'm comfortable. And like you said, you can just feel something off or not right. So when you go into a new area, which is stuff that, I'm starting to do every year, I want to pick a new place to go and to explore that has sightings, that has definite Bigfoot in the area. It's hard to do that because you're only there for 4 or 5 days, so it's going in with a clean, or I am, and hoping that you pick up on enough clues, or I don't even want to say evidence. You just want to see different, something that doesn't make sense, that's like gives you that little bit of edge, saying, something's here, this is kind of weird. And hold on, I got like 3 people texting me right now. I don't know what's going on.
Well, along those lines too, when we did that outing with Central Florida Bigfoot in March, it was tremendous. I loved meeting the people and exchanging information. That was amazing. But for me personally, as a researcher, I was completely useless because I was so unfamiliar with the area that I didn't have any connection, no idea of when things were right and when things were wrong. I spent 20 minutes hunting down a funky noise, which turned out to be a frog. I mean, it was just, I was completely out of my element. So But again, conversations were amazing. But out in the field, completely useless.
But you hunted it down, Deb. So
Right.
That's
you know
true,
you
yes.
figured it out. You went and you did what needed to be done to figure it out, and that's that's something that I think kind of gets overlooked sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something you're not
I
familiar
think that's
with,
so important.
go look. You know.
Yeah, go look. You know, I
Right.
see video after video of people putting out, oh, look at that darkness. That's, what is that? Well, go look. Go. Even
Hold
if
my
it is
beer. Go.
right,
BF
something
lives rent
there
free in
or
my head. Go look.
yeah,
Go
all
look. That's what it is.
to do is move a couple of feet to see movement, and you'll be surprised how things come clearer, just by moving perspective or direction, looking at
Right.
it from a different angle, and then you're like, oh, that's just a stump, okay, or oh, that is moving, what is that? It gives you something more. I mean, I'll tell you, I'm surprised I didn't run into a skunk up there in Mount St. Helens, because I do that a lot. And that just love to come visit Nikki. So
You are
it,
the skunk queen.
yeah. I went up here to Cloudcroft, and I had like a whole gaggle of skunk around me, which makes it hard to go out because I do not want to be skunked out in the middle of nowhere. So
No, you
Well, the
don't.
animals will let you know as well.
That's true.
We go to like Deb said, we go to a place that has a pond, and it's in the national forest. And when we went before, we've never seen snakes. We've seen very few, if any, birds. Never hear birds. The only thing we hear is like the frogs. Never. I mean, we don't see many tracks. There should be full of wildlife. Should be full of deer and things like that in the evening that come down to get water, things like that. But what we did notice, what helped clue us in, and you could almost even feel it, that when they had moved out of there, well, what it was is we discovered that these fishing tournaments, they're dumping fish in these national forests, and they have these little fishing rodeos for these children once a year, like in the spring or late spring or what have you. Well, that's how we discovered what we ran into is we found them there. We found something there. And there was no wildlife in there at all. You could drop a pin day or night. I put recorders out, and we were very vigilant about that. And what also helped too is my research partner is a big hunter as well. And he knows the area. He was raised in the woods. He was raised in this area. He knows it. But we have gone back, and they did a burn. They did some different things. All of a sudden, we're not getting anything on the recorders or what have you, but we see an otter, we see birds, we hear birds, we're seeing some wildlife, and it like come alive a little bit around the area. So we went down the road, and we decided to do a knock to see if we would get anything, and we were right by the pond. Well, we got a soft knock close to the location that we were at. So they were in the area, but not right there. So the animals will tell you, like Deb said, that if something's around or not. The bugs, things like that will get quiet. And we pick up on a lot of that as well. We've learned from our partners too.
Mm-hmm. So Jen, and you've experienced that as well, with the animals just going quiet?
Yeah, I can't say that it's been something that's happened a lot, but kind of the normal sounds all of a sudden just blink out for a little bit and then they come back.
Yeah, go
It's
silent.
yeah, like if everything just shuts up at once, you kind of go okay because the silence can be deafening when you're used to all the normal sounds.
Right.
I've had it happen a couple times. I can't say um exactly why it happened. I didn't see anything, to prove
Yeah.
one way or the other why it happened. But it has happened, and it snaps your attention around real quick when
Right.
everything just shuts up. All
Well, when Jen and I were up on the Mount St. Helens, there was like a void of animals. I felt like it was kind of quiet up there. It was very quiet for the most part. But I mean, even birds, and there were some birds, but not like
birds,
I would
chipmunks,
expect a lot of noises going on, a lot of bugs, there really was. And I don't know if it was just the season that we were there. I don't know.
well, that meant, I mean, the berries were kaput that year
Not,
too. So, a
yeah,
lot of things probably moved somewhere else to eat.
yeah. And that's a big point that's brought
It
up
could be too,
often.
just how used to human beings the animals are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Recorders help as well. I've learned a tremendous amount of information by putting out a recorder. It tells you what's going on. You don't have to be there. There's no human interference, and you're able to see that.
I have to say, one of the things that I enjoy, going back to the frog thing, is solving those little mysteries.
Yes.
2023 Ohio Bigfoot Conference. Afterwards, we went out and did our own hunt, not at Salt Fork, at another state park. And I was freaked out because I was seeing fireflies. Now, in Ohio, we have tons of fireflies, but not the first weekend of March. They were like 6 weeks early, and they were blue-white. So as soon as we got out, because there was no internet, I have no cell service. So as soon as we got out, I started digging around doing research. They're blue ghost fireflies that are moving north from North Carolina. I got the biggest kick out of figuring that out. You know what I mean? That to me is really fun stuff. Figuring out that frog, that was cool. It's common knowledge to the locals, but that kind of stuff I get a real kick out of. So even if it's not Squatch related, if I can figure out something about it, I really enjoy that.
Oh, I so agree. I'm with you there.
Yeah.
So I mean, we learn a lot by we like to debunk things.
Yes.
Women naturally, don't we? We love to debunk things. What makes things tick? That's my thing. I like anything I want to see.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100% agree. Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you on that for sure. So
I have been told that I am the popper of happy bubbles. Just saying. So.
I think I've been said that. Yeah, I agree. That has happened to me before. I don't want to get lost on the way I was going, but here's a picture of you, Pat. I thought that was so cool. That is the strangest, coolest looking mess right there. I don't know. That was really cool.
It's in the national forest. Those are the things, when you go out, you got to remember too, as well, is that's our happy place as well. You go out and experience life and enjoy life. We found this vine, and I said, wow, Joe found it, and it is, I don't know how old it is. It's very, very old. Well, it looked like a chair. So I said, I'm gonna sit in it, take a picture. So that was fun. We do things like that. you got to have fun while you're doing this as well. It can't all be serious. And
For sure. Right. I
I
think that's
having-
really
I think the fun part actually is better. If you
yes.
can be relaxed and talk and laugh and just kind of not seem laser focused on every little thing, you might even though you might be paying attention to one thing or another thing, but if you can act like you're not and still carry on conversations and laugh and whatever, it I think it's a benefit.
right. Yeah, there
I
has
think there's an
been
argument to
times.
be made for that technique too. There's an argument to be made for that technique too. That's a kind of a through line with a lot of people's experiences is how curious Bigfoot are. So, just being ourselves out in the woods, they're going to
Right.
come and check us out. So again, I don't know that I'm ever going to sneak up on a Sasquatch. I don't know if I'm ever going to, be able to hunt one down, but I can draw them in by telling a few good jokes and having a good laugh around a campfire. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, it's also, even if, let's say, you catch movement and you're not sure what it is, instead of just and focusing on it, if it's something that it's going to notice you focus, maybe it stops moving, maybe it leaves. But if you notice it and you keep some attention on it, but you're still acting normal, a little subversion might be
Right.
beneficial, type of thing.
Right. I had an
Well-
experience where basically it kind of scared me a little bit here, and I'm a little bit more cautious after that. In this one location that we went to, there's only one way in, pretty much driving, and one way out. And Joe and I were at the pond, and about, I guess it was maybe, we were walking back to the truck, and we were probably got about 40 yards away from the truck. We hear a stomp. It's at the truck, whatever it is. And I just said, "Did you hear that?" And he said, "Yes." So what we did is, survival mode, I guess, kicks in too, is we chose to ignore it. And I'm glad that we did, instead of reacting to it. And what was really great is being able to experience it in real time. And I had a recorder on the back of the truck sitting right there. But that's a little leery too, when something blocks your exit. That'll make you think a little bit. So that's where the recorders come into play as well. It's a little bit unnerving, but the reaction, it's how you react as well, instead of, like Jen said, focusing in on it.
Yeah.
Play
Well,
it
the
off.
last thing we want is to be perceived as threats,
Right.
And
unless I would guess there's going to be a time and a place for something.
Sure.
If you feel like you're in danger, you have two options. You can either step back and be less aggressive about it, or you go forward and be overly aggressive about it.
I've had to do both as well. We had our camper rocked, and we were in it, and we had just went to bed. We were climbing, and Joe was in bed, and I was getting in bed and heard it, and all of a sudden the trailer was rocking, without going into big detail about it. And I guess in the mother mode or whatever kicked in, because all of a sudden I started hollering. I said, "You can knock that off right now. I'm not having that. We're not having that here. You're going to hurt somebody." And I said, "Knock it off right now." And it instantly stopped. And I also had that happen up at Falk as well. So there was times that we had to use, you know, as a woman had to use that, and to take that approach.
Yep.
And it does work.
Pull out the mom voice. Do it.
The mom voice kicks in and said, we're not having this.
That's right.
And I had my tent pushed down and things like that when I was in my tent. We're all right there. And I was taken to the edge of the woods and was told, you tell them to make them stop. Tell them to stop right now. And I could see I could see the eyes. And I could see a few eyes right there. And nothing happened the rest of the night. And also around after we got the trailer rocked, I could hear something out there, but it was very quiet. It was like, okay, we shut the kids up. So that was the reaction I got out of it. So anytime that I would need it, I know to use it now. I'll try. You have to try it.
Did you feel that you were possibly dealing with juveniles?
Oh, I'm figuring that's probably what it was. They were just trying to get a rise out of us. But, you know,
Right.
Joe didn't help by hitting the side wall of the camper back at them either, you know.
You'll only
So-
encourage them. Yeah.
Right. He encouraged them. He played it, you know. So I intervened, but it stopped. I mean, it's like you're desperate. You got to do something. I'm in a tin can. Come on, I'm in a tuna can.
Well, it's I'm going to guess it's not so much that they understood what you said, but probably
How you said it,
the tone of what
Yeah.
was said.
right?
Yeah.
It was.
Trust me, I've been in many different countries, and when somebody's yelling, you know what they're yelling about. You know. When a mom's yelling at her kid, you know what they're saying. You know, you
Exactly.
don't have to know the language to understand emotions and the way things are said.
Yes.
So
It worked. It's worked twice for me. So, you know, I keep that in my back pocket
yeah.
if I would need it.
So let's see, where are we at? So less aggressive encounters, but that's pretty aggressive. Pat. That's for them to be bold enough to come up and to shake you around a little bit. That's pretty aggressive. But did it feel like leave now, or what is this?
Mm-mm.
Or, you know, we all get these feelings. What did you not have anything of what it was trying to convey to you?
No, actually, I don't. The only thing that did concern me though is, I was just starting to climb into bed and I could hear something outside the camper, you know, movement just outside the camper window on Joe's side. I could hear it. And I could hear it move. I had the kitchen window open, which is next to that. And it's only like a 20 foot, 24 foot camper. So what it did is I could hear movement all the way down to the camper door.
Uh-huh.
And I heard the movement there, and you could kind of feel the weight, a little bit of weight go down on those steps. And it was not a person. I'm in the national forest and no one is around. We know for a fact no one was there. And all of a sudden you could hear something. It was coming back. I said, it's coming back. So what Joe reacted by pounding on the camper wall. And all of a sudden, that's when we got the rock. So the rocking back and forth. So I took it more as they were playing, but I was concerned because there is a ladder they could get on the roof. And I was concerned about that. And Joe in the past has also left the storage door open, the compartment open, which is the pass through there, and it's underneath our bed. And so, and I've on my recorder, I've heard rocks dropped inside those, pebbles dropped inside those, inside that storage compartment. So the rule is we lock that. I'm not having nothing crawling under my bed. I'm sorry. I'm out Bigfooting, but I don't want nothing under my bed.
Right. We talked about a little bit about group. Well, no, it's not moving. Let's move. There we go. Group dynamics, you know, and Deb, you mentioned that, you know, it's important to take everybody's the way they research, you know, and kind of have just respect for that, and it have a collaboration. You know, it's about learning. You know, we're all there for the same reason, and I think, you know, we had a great group last year, and everybody was a little bit different on what they believed, how they approached it, but we had a great time and we all got along, and it was truly a great experience. And we had all different, you know, types too, from Thomas, who was very straightforward. Everything is speculative, and, you know, nothing is set in stone. Even with the tracks that were found, Jen finding several, and Dakota finding one, it was, you know, everybody respected everybody, and that's what I wish I could see more of in our community. But there's also a lot of people who want to be right all the time, you know, and I think this is more of the type of thing where you just say, well, this is what happened. You know, you don't fluff it. You stick to the facts that you've discovered, and you move on to the next experience or investigation. And everybody has their the thing they're really good at. You know, Brent's really good at tech and filming, and Thomas is really good at investigating and looking at prints. And same with Steve, Curious Cryptid. He had all kinds of little gizmos, you know, and so
The thing
everybody
is,
has.
like, being wrong is always an option. It's always an
Right.
option. You know, like, you have to go into it going, okay, well, you're here, I'm here. Can that come together anywhere? Can you teach me something about how you look at it? Can I show you how I look at it? Or you have to be open to it, and you always have to be open to being wrong. I'm wrong. Okay. You know, being wrong is always an option. It's always an option.
It's
Right, and
okay
even
not
if
to.
I'm wrong in this situation, or for this area, my approach is wrong. Just so, you know, to know that there's a huge toolkit available to all of us. And I think another
Right.
thing that makes these in-person groups work so much better is just classic internet behavior. So easy to troll people online. But when you are sharing a camp with them and a porta-john, it gets a lot more real about getting along and being respectful. And I think that if we did more of that kind of thing, I think that it'll never all go away, but some of the sort of social media and internet fueled animosity would kind
some
of
of this stuff,
dissipate. Yeah, so you get to know these people as people, not just an icon on a screen in chat, and it's you're absolutely going to be much more respectful, much more gracious, much more open-minded. So
right,
For sure. I found myself changing, though. I knew that Thomas didn't like to knock on the wood and like to do whoops and stuff. I knew he didn't like that. And so I didn't do it. But I wanted to. You know, I wanted to give a big old hoop out there on the mountain, but I knew he kind of changed me for that. I don't know if I'll stick to that, but because I respect him so much.
Sure, and
you
he was
know,
sort of your host for that too. So yeah, there's some house rules going on too.
Right.
It was be kind to my elders. I could tell.
Well, then at another place, you try that if that's what you'd like to do. At points in times, I mean, I didn't always knock or yell or hoop or whatever. You know, we never did any of that. But if I'm out for a while and I'm not getting those signs, I'm trying to see if they're there to, I call it firing something up, but that's where Jody and I came into play. Women walking in the woods, Deb and Jen, by ourselves. I mean, with a partner.
Yes.
I went up on in a green field with Jody. And that goes out with us. And we went out by ourselves. And I whooped out. I got at the very top. I whooped a little bit. And I talked loud. I heard a few noises. And I just said, come on and walk with us. You know, I'm just kind of, you know, showing myself a little bit. And Jody said, oh, Pat, I don't know. You know, I was getting a little brave with it. And she says, oh, Pat, I don't know. I don't want us following us down and, you know, following us into camp or whatever. I said, oh, no. I said, I'll tell you what, you guys walk with us, but you're only allowed to the gate is how I did that. 15 minutes later,
Oops.
Roger from Squatch and Holler went over there and someone else, and it was close to the gate. It was probably maybe, I don't know, 100 yards from the gate or whatever. He's got a recording that it's been played on the internet, and it's pretty impressive. They had howls right then, you know, but like I said, you know, we were going to go down into the woods, but we thought, well, we'll get in trouble. So we decided not to, but we put ourselves out there to women alone.
Yep.
Your bait.
Right.
Yeah. Bait, but that's what we came for.
Nanji and I did the same thing in West Virginia. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. We were like, nope, just the two of us. Guys, go to the other peak. We're just going to do this. And we were winging it. We didn't have a strong plan. We got some interesting reactions, you know, and
exactly.
You get more reaction. I don't know if you're going to get to that, Nikki, but also the woman alone is interesting. We've had things happen, especially when there's one woman alone at camp, which I find very interesting. Has anybody else had that kind of thing happen?
Well, I've been with you and been that one person, so yeah.
Yes, you have.
No.
But do you feel that Bigfoot are curious about females? I mean, men always, you hear different groups saying we have to have a female on the group, you know, because they just bring this other dynamic. Do you feel that's, you know,
well,
true?
I'll be the elephant in the room. I pee all over the place out there.
Yeah.
If that's
well, you know, I give it to the chat. All the men out there, do you feel that having a woman in a group's situation out there in the woods is a positive thing? Does it change things, or do things stay the same?
Okay, let me throw out a trigger warning for my husband. Okay, he knows what I'm about to say, but I promise tone diversion. But there is a theory that women, especially when menstruating, can draw in activity. And it was one of the things that we talked about and explored a bit on one of our trips.
And how did that work out?
I don't know if it's true, but I don't know exactly if we got more. It was a pretty lively place anyway, so I don't know that it was any more lively because of that. But I think it's an interesting theory. You know, that there's something about, you know, the pheromones and hormones going on that would particularly pique Bigfoot's interest, especially if they're not used to human females being around. You know,
that's true. Well, if it's a female Bigfoot, would they be threatened? You know, there's so many different ways to take it. Brent says, I think women are more approachable than men. A research team used a woman to reconnect with an uncontacted tribe.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Bill says weird reactions.
I'll be up Bud's down in the chat too. Hey Bud.
Oh yeah.
What? I don't know what he's talking about. He says yes, most definitely women along for the ride. Women rule the world. There was some. Oh, I think it was one of Brent's comment section said something, and I thought it was a negative comment, and I go, "What? Do you think women rule the world?" He goes, "Yes, they do," and I'm like, "Okay."
You know, how many stories have we also heard about a woman that was in the woods by herself, and she was approached by a Sasquatch or whatever, and it wasn't, I guess maybe it was going to, it appeared to be aggressive. It was going to be, and a female Sasquatch intervened and saved that woman, and they walked away with that male. You do hear that now. I don't know, you know.
Yeah.
Now, I don't, and they walked away, allowing them to get away. So I just listened to a story of that last night. I don't know how true it is. I don't want to be in that position.
Right. Okay. What?
We are
where
fair
we
game when we're out there. You know, that's the thing. You know, just we are fair game, but being a female like that, because it just like with all animals. I worked with horses for years, you know, and stud horses and anything like that. I mean, we have the pheromones. They use all of that kind of stuff in the woods to draw things in.
Mm-hmm.
With hunters, and they do it with Sasquatch as well. They use the ape urine, or the what do they call it? I forgot what it's called.
the primate
What do they call it, Joe?
pheromones.
There's a name, Estes.
Oh, estrus.
Estrus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we
They
talk
use
about
that. They use that in science when they're doing things. So
what? Robert says that was just a female who was telling her mate to get away from that lady, or you will be on the forest equivalent of the couch for at least a week.
yeah, possibly. You know, we are known to do that.
No. Well, that's an interesting notion too about kind of chicks hanging together. I mean, you see that even out in public. You know, if somebody's getting harassed, female complete strangers will come to her rescue. So it's kind of an interesting, if that's cross species. That's a really interesting notion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I think it just balances out things when there's, females involved in this, because we do bring something to the table. I think
In the animal,
it'll be more so, later, but let's see. Check the comments real quick. Okay. I don't think I missed anything.
Now, if anybody, make sure they put it in caps too.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've been running around in there yelling at everybody or not.
Make sure you put those questions in caps so I can find them easier and star those so we can get to your questions. But encounters and experiences, I wanted to, talk a little more about but Pat's already been leading us down that road of some things that had happened to her and experiences they've had. And she sent a few, unusual pictures that definitely, like they're interesting. They're really interesting.
those are trees that are growing. So not everything is what you think it is. Those trees are alive. There's a rock formation right there. And also they do controlled burns as well. But those trees are alive.
Wow.
Where it can look like a structure.
Mm-hmm.
So the eyes can be deceiving. So it's going to investigate and looking.
Right. Yep. You have to check it out.
Now
You
the
never
others
know.
are structures, I do believe. Those we got those after the trailer was rocked. There was a heavy pollen concentration
Oh yeah.
that time, and it was the perfect time for us to look.
Right.
Now that is I found those in a bog, and only carnivorous plants grow in this bog, which is pretty amazing on a hillside, with natural water all right there. That it's been tested. It's been tested. People go and get water there. It's been tested where it's 99.9% supposedly by the college of being pure. And all through there is a bog. It's someplace you really don't want to walk. And I had the boots, so I climbed on in there and just to see what I could find.
Yeah.
And I've run across that. We do research in the swamps there, or at the edge of like a swamp or what have you. I go out where there's water, a lot of stuff. We go out into that. And that's an old track. There's actually two there. There's one by my foot as well. But I found that up against a tree. And the other one is the pond where you can see the trash can there to the right there. I've heard that on the recorder open and close. And there's a recorder right there. In the middle of the night, slammed shut. I've heard that, which is pretty kind of remarkable because they are bear proof. But this one was a little bit of a jar. So we have found that when we do go out there, that it seems to ring maybe a dinner bell, and Joe will go over and slam that. That's where we first experienced things. We got a mouth pop off of that. And you can see where the pond is. And on the bottom one, where Joe was standing, is where we had a foot stomp or something was messing around at the truck, and blocking our exit. So they're just like some little things I thought I would share.
Well, it's definitely beautiful there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, overcoming challenges in a male-dominated field. I think more and more, I'm hearing more and more females in the field than I've ever heard before. And I don't know if it's because, well, Jen, you started on your own. What started you looking for Bigfoot? What was the main trigger that you started to get interested in?
A lot of people like watching a documentary, watching this, watching that. And to me, I always thought like, well, why not? Why couldn't they be out there? Why couldn't it be something that has survived? And it was really just a curiosity. And then, you find people who are also have interest in it, and then you find this and you find that, and okay, that's weird, and it just adds to your ball of twine that it's just for me it's always been more of a curiosity. It's like I've always felt like there could be something like that out there. I don't see why it couldn't be. You know.
Yeah. For Pat and Deb though, did you start having interest in Bigfoot through your husbands, or were you the first one?
Go ahead, Deb.
Yeah.
Definitely my husband. I mean, we'd been sort of rediscovering camping and things. So being out in the woods, we were just doing more of as the kids got older, and I would go with him on his hunting trips, and we'd camp for days at a time. And then he got curious about it, and for a bit, I'm not gonna lie, I was just the gal who carried the bags for a little bit. But then I started getting much more into it too. And he encouraged me, and he still encourages me to learn the equipment better, to come up with ideas, to, propose experiments to do. And, some of my background, I was, my PhD program did not finish my PhD, to be clear. But I was trained sort of like an anthropologist. So, there's a lot that my approach to collecting data and sorting it from there and things like that I can apply to this. And so in a few minor experiences, I've heard some whoops that made me curious. I'm sort of like a really open-minded agnostic. It's like I want to see that extraordinary evidence, and I'm hoping to. And then just the icing on the cake is the people. Love the people. The people are great. I am really, really enjoying all the friends that we have made doing this. And I just love being out in the woods too. This, again, we were out last night. It was amazing. It was a beautiful night. It was so wonderful. We didn't have anything thrown at us, no howls or anything, but it was still, in my book, a great night. I really enjoyed it. So
nice. Yeah.
That's first and foremost. You have to enjoy the people you're with.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
like 95% of doing that is, looking bigfooting is hanging out with people that you have fun with. And that's how it should
Right.
be.
yes.
That should be the majority. You should be able to just enjoy it.
Was that the same
Mhm.
for you, Pat? Or did you always have an interest?
Well, I have two answers to that, and I've never shared this first one. I grew up in California, just like in the foothills out of Los Angeles. And we had, and it was roughly in 67, 68, somewhere around there in that neighborhood. My parents had a friend that came over that I guess my mother had worked with his wife or something, but he had come over, and I remember him talking with my father. I'm going to tell my age here now. And I was probably 11, 12 years old. He came and he said, and he brought this reel with him. This is where you had the old projectors and things like that, where you had to put up the screen and all of that. Us kids were not allowed in the room, but he showed my father a Bigfoot reel of how he had been out on an expedition. I don't know anything else about it. Both my parents are deceased.
Wow.
And I remember another time, and he showed this movie. That's all I know. And another time we had went over their house, and he showed my father some pictures and talked about how he was going out on another expedition and was talking about all this. I was not allowed to see the pictures, but I heard the conversation. And I don't know what it was to this day. And that sparked my interest for many, many years. For many, many years, it sparked my interest on this. I had the dreams of being chased and things like that. But then go down years down the road. My children are all grown. I had come into work, and I would watch shows when I came in from work. I knew nothing about YouTube at this point. I would watch certain ones when I came in from work at 3:00 in the morning. Okay, well, to move along, my husband that I was married to for many years had passed. And I decided I was going to go ahead and retire and work more and more year and retire. And I'm sitting around the house and I got involved in YouTube. I experienced YouTube for the first time. This was back in 2018. And and we were going to have a camp out and with a channel. It was a small channel and it was late at night that she came on. It was going to be mainly all females go. And I decided, why not? I'm going to go. And why not? I'm going to experience life. I'm going to go do it. The kids are all gone. I'm going to go. I'm going to go find out. I'm going to go get those answers. I want that experience. I don't care so much about the evidence personally myself. I do enjoy the audio though. I'm a kind of audio buff. But I want the experience, my own personal experience to get my own answers.
Right. Many say that be careful what you wish for, you know, you never know how you're going to react to seeing one.
I've already
up close.
seen one. I've already experienced that.
Yeah.
So on that trip, I experienced that. And that's also where my tent was pushed down as well. And what was funny is Joe and I became friends on that podcast. We became very good friends. And he was camping in a tent next to me. And we were all right there together. And I watched one crawl up to his tent.
Ew. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's how that went. And I was probably maybe 20 feet away. So I did have that experience. I tried to talk to it and it backed away, but it backed away twice actually.
Wow.
So I did, but the night before they were running through camp, pushing the tent down, and it was obviously juveniles. And they were running through, pushing the tent down. It was a full moon that then, and it was like 107 degrees there at Falk, Arkansas. We were at Alex Smith Park, and it was hot. And they were running through the camp, and they're fast. You could see the shadows. I could lay down, and I could watch the shadows go by. What we do is we were retired to our tent like maybe about 10 o'clock, and we would talk back and forth through our tents. So, you know, until they got a little bit too aggressive. Then I hollered out, and then I was brought out and did the mom talk. But I slept with my shoes on the rest of the night. I hear you.
Yeah. I think I'd probably do that too. For sure.
I was going after him this time, but it wasn't to get out. She had me get out. I was a little unnerved, and she did have me get out of the tent and, you know, and talk to me and things like that, because that is a little bit unnerving when it's pushed down on your head. The third time it was pretty aggressive, but they were just clowning around, running through there. So
she wanted to pet one.
I wanted to. Oh, is that Joe? Yeah.
Yeah.
He always says that because I'm always trying to talk to him. I use that little sweet voice.
The motherly voice.
Yeah. Well, there's that little sweet voice, like, what you doing? You know, come here, let me see you. That's what I was doing. Come here, I want to see you. Come here.
Oops.
You know, I worked with racehorses for many years. So, you know, and I broke horses. So, it works.
Let me see if I can get Deb back on.
Yeah, we lost her.
Oh, the video did not come back, Deb. You're just black.
There
she
she
goes.
is.
But
Very,
I really
very
feel
nice.
that female investigators can
Well, it's
significantly
interesting. The
enhance
question you have up on the screen right now.
overcoming the challenges. Male-dominated field.
Challenges in a male-dominated field.
Yeah. Is she frozen again?
I personally
Yeah.
have had nothing but respect from the people that I have met, male and female alike.
Yeah. Me too. I mean, I've also, I'm pretty picky about the people that, I hang out with.
Mhm.
So I think that has to do with it. But generally, I feel the same way. I've been brought in as an equal. So that's always a good thing. It makes you feel good. For sure.
I'm pretty passive like that too, though. I've experienced in large groups and stuff. I've seen the egos and things like that, but I just blow it off to what it is and go on
Right.
with it. Go on with it. Like I said, I am the camp cook, so I can pretty well weasel my way into things.
Yeah.
Going
You have to keep the
that
cook
way.
happy. Have to keep the cook happy. I feel the same way. I actually worked for about 18 years in a male-dominated field, so I'm never really. It hasn't been an issue for me, and I've always had more guy friends than girlfriends.
Same here.
So it's an easy thing for me to be in this type of field. What is that? We can tell Nikki your firewall is a bit high to maneuver. What? My firewall? I put my firewall really high. I didn't think so. Hey,
Yeah,
I'm easy to reach
I
out
can get
to.
my wrench out from here.
Everybody knows that I'm pretty easy to reach out to. But that was a great conversation, ladies. I think we're going to move on to the second segment of the show. And
Show me what you got.
Jim, you heard them. Said, show me what you got.
show me what you got.
I need
Well,
to get out there and leave y'all alone.
This is kind of circulating again. It's the baby Bigfoot that it's very elusive. I did my best to find and track where this originated from, and I didn't get very far, but it's supposedly a dead baby Bigfoot in the field, okay? And I never thought it was one, okay? I've always thought it's just been a hoax, a doll colored and made to look kind of crazy looking because it doesn't seem to or appear to be the right proportion, anything about it. But I took a dive about, okay, what kind of dolls? Because there are dolls out there that people make about other animals, but I wasn't getting Bigfoot dolls. So I just kept going down and down the weave there until I finally reached the little primate dolls, the little monkey dolls. And I realized something that was in there, they were calling them reborn. So you have to have reborn in your search. And once I did that, then it finally led me to Bigfoot reborns that are out there. And I thought, well, it'll be cool if I could actually find that, little doll or whatever. And I did find a doll that had, unusual facial closed eyes, the one there on the bottom. And I thought anybody could just get the doll and, paint it, color it, whatever. because there isn't any information on it. I mean, I did the Google searches and I tracked as many as I could find on YouTube, and even Sylvanic Todd Standing had a little thing on him because he believes it's really a Bigfoot baby. And then one other one that's a short from somewhere, I don't know, Indonesia or somewhere. So, which makes it a little suspect more, but there is video of it. And I'm not sure if I linked the video down in the description, but it sounds like an American person who's walking up to it. And they don't say much. They just says, "What is this? What is this?" You know, pretty much. But which makes it a little not. But there is video of it, and I'm not sure if I'm getting feedback now. So I don't know. What do you guys think? You think that baby Bigfoot is a real baby Bigfoot, or do you think it's just another hoax?
I'm one you got to show me. So
Yeah,
that's where I stand on a lot of things.
right.
I try and not believe everything that I see. You know, I try and debunk it.
Right.
So Joe and I do. So I don't put much stock into
it. It did get me interested in how many Bigfoot babies are there. So I decided to take a quick tour to see how many Bigfoot babies I could find on YouTube. And it's not that many. You know, this is right here from Billy Silva out of Spokane, Washington. This is actually a video, and it shows that little thing in the middle of the road kind of going like this. And it's not a very long video. It's really black and white looking, you know, it kind of changes. But you can actually find this video out there. And he's just saying, "What are you? I don't know what you are, but I got you on video." And it's very fuzzy and blurry. But this was one that was going around back in 2013. So that's the Silva Bigfoot, baby Bigfoot. And then we have the Azerbaijan baby Bigfoot, which was pretty much said to be one of those monkeys, macaques that are in that area, and that this was just a monkey. And there's video of it walking around and everything, and it kind of looks like they shaved the face a little bit. So kind of sad, actually, the way they have this monkey baby out there. Treating it like that. So then we have, of course, the Independence Day footage that has a baby in it, which I think is just, I don't think it's CGI. I think it's a real thing, but it's a puppet, you know, because it just moves so stiffly. And I think I see the not two-way tape, but like Velcro on the hand right there, hooked. So, but either way, I don't believe that footage is real. So that's another baby. And then we have the famous porcupine in the tree. We have a bunch of porcupine in the tree photos out there, but everybody puts this out as a baby Bigfoot in the tree, but it's not. It's porcupine. I think people don't realize how high they can crawl up into trees. And of course, we have the Beacon Bigfoot hoax that had the baby on the back of the Bigfoot. And we all know that is part of Ron English's Bigfoot hoax. And he now has those in his, he has a big, what do you call it? A show that he does, an expo that he has of all his works, his artwork. And they're part of his artwork. And we have the famous New York baby Bigfoot. Now you can't see it here, but the video shows something swinging in the trees. It looks like a monkey swinging in the trees. And I know Steve Culls is naming it something else, but I can never remember the name. I think it's the name of the city or town that it happened in, but I can never remember that name. Maybe somebody in the chat will know what that is. And some big figure down at the bottom. So Steve seems to think it's a real baby, Bigfoot out there. I think it's just a monkey, but it's definitely a thing moving there, and it definitely moves like a monkey. But of course, wouldn't a baby Bigfoot move like that? I don't know. So there's that one. What else do we got? And these are some baby Bigfoots from Swan Lake Bigfoot. I don't see any Bigfoot there, but that's baby Bigfoots. Especially the red thing on the other side. I don't know what that is. But that's the good one too. Okay. So next we have in the news, Big Money Mom. This one, when did this one happen? This was from last year, but I thought it was kind of a cool statue they have there. This is a Big Muddy Monster sighting set to increase after new statue unveiling. And this is in Murfreesboro, Illinois. And it says that dozens were at the corner of routes 13 and 127 in Murfreesboro Saturday morning for the unveiling of a new Big Muddy Monster landmark. The bronze 8-foot 8-inch statue weighs nearly 800 pounds. So would that be like a real Bigfoot? It was 50 years ago this week when Murfreesboro police investigated the first muddy monster sighting. Mayor Will Stevens says the city is looking forward to more people sighting their monster. We think about Superman, and we think about Chester and Popeye and all of the marketing and things that come out of those characters connected to those communities. So we think this is very much the same thing, frankly, where there's Bigfoot, there's big bucks. And we think that this will make a tourist attraction, not just for people here locally, but for people all over the country.
In Flat Rock's town, in Flat Rock City there, they have a huge Bigfoot right in the middle of this town in Evergreen.
They're getting pretty popular to put up. We've got more and more Bigfoot museums coming up in smaller areas, and just like what they said, it's all about getting tourism and bringing in people into the communities. And this is just one of those ways. I mean, you can't go to Washington without seeing a Sasquatch everywhere.
Right.
All the coffee is marked with Bigfoot, and there's Bigfoot t-shirts and Bigfoot this and that. And it was crazy. So next up is Bigfoot sightings on the rise, a growing phenomenon. This just came out June 6th of 2024 out of Rockford, Illinois. In the shadowy woods of the misty hills of the state line region of southern Illinois, whispers of a mysterious creature have long captivated the imaginations of locals and visitors alike. Bigfoot, known as Sasquatch, has woven itself into the fabric of folklore, with sightings and encounters becoming increasingly common over the years. Fueling this fascination are popular TV shows on Travel Channel and Animal Planet, and it goes on and on. Where should I go next? It says, crafted at Salt Lake City-based company, the statue's design draws inspiration from the descriptions provided in the original Murfreesboro police reports. So this was actually attached to that first story with Big Muddy over there. And The Bigfoot phenomenon continues to gain momentum. It serves as a reminder of humanity's enduring fascination with the unknown. Whether fueled by folklore, curiosity, or the thrill of the hunt, the legend of Bigfoot endures, weaving its enigmatic presence into the fabric of the state line region and southern Illinois. And lastly, we've got Bigfoot is terrorizing me and my family. I vow to take him down. So this comes out of the Assistant News. Let me see. Where does this come out of? Did I cut it off? Oh, Irish Star. It's an Irish Star up there. Bigfoot enthusiasts criticize the man who has expressed his desire to hunt and kill the mythical creature, claiming it has been terrorizing him and his family. The man, known as Mark, has reported several chilling encounters with what he believes is a Sasquatch near his family home. He alleges that the elusive beast has been rummaging through his rubbish on his porch, peering into his house in broad daylight, and even killed their pet bulldog. Mark, who resides in the small town of Alabama, disclosed that these incidents started in May of 2015 when the supposed beast chased one of his family members. In June, it was seen looking into a family member's window in broad daylight, and by July, it had allegedly killed the family pet.
A lot of activity in Alabama.
That's what I hear. Although Mark typically carried a shotgun with him, he didn't have it on him a particular night. He pondered that if he had his gun, he might have been able to shoot the creature and provide the world with concrete evidence of Bigfoot existence. He claims, I don't understand why anybody would want to. Who says this? I don't understand why anybody would want to kill one of the Bigfoot, commented one believer. These poor creatures were probably here before man was. So interesting that there's a lot of people out there that claim to be harassed by these things, and then the people who are looking for them don't usually find them. Don't usually. So we are be on the lookout. I'm just going to go ahead and we are going to do one more Sasquatch Shindigs coming up. We're on the last 3 weeks. We're going to meet up at Harrison Hot Springs, BC, Canada at the Sasquatch Provincial Park on July 3rd through the 7th. If you're interested in going, please contact me. The spaces are filling, actually. We have 4 now. We have 4 spots, and I think everybody's got one at this point. But there's definitely allow us to have more tents up. You do have to provide your own accommodations and all that stuff. You know, your tent and your supplies and stuff like that. But if you're interested, please contact me at harrymanhoaxes@gmail.com. And we can get you squared away so you can meet Thomas Steenberg, Jerry Matthews, Bill Reed. We're hoping Leon Thompson is going to be there. We're hoping Brent Dill will be there. And Mr. Trackway is going to be there. So should be a good group of us there. Hopefully goes out without a hitch. And that's all I got for us today, ladies. Bringing us right to the end of the show. Let's see if I can move us around again. There we go. Any last words, ladies?
Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
Have an open mind and be okay to be wrong.
Right.
There you go.
Have fun. Have fun. Enjoy.
Oh, I'm sorry, Michael. Yes, and Michael's going to be there too. I knew I was forgetting somebody.
Just get out there. Get out in the woods.
Yeah, don't be so serious. Go out and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I
Live
totally
your life.
agree.
That's
Thank
what
you,
I'm
ladies. for coming
you,
on
Nikki.
and
Thank you.
sharing your insights. It's been a great show.
Thanks for
We
having
just
us.
zoomed along. And I don't think I have anything else. But thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. And hey, everybody, do not forget to hit that like button, share it out, leave me a comment, and subscribe. Please subscribe. Love you guys, and I'll let you go and see you in the next chat.